Okay. Hey, Marcus. Good to see you today.
Good to see you too.
Couple things. A, what'd you think of the scrimmage? Just overall thoughts on the secondary, and then B, the safeties. It's been really interesting to see you guys rotating around there. And how's that position right now?
Yeah, so first off, starting with the scrimmage, I thought, we started slow. We didn't come out prepared to play from the beginning. As the scrimmage progressed, we did pick up the intensity as well as the execution. So for us right now, the main focus between scrimmage 1 to scrimmage 2 is just learning how to start fast. And that's why the fastball period to start practice has really been good for us, just in terms of setting the tempo from start to finish. In terms of the back end with the personnel, it's some musical chairs that's being played right now. The main thing is finding the best pieces for the puzzle to make the big picture be what we need it to be when the 11 take the field for the Hogs defense. Just a few names. Jaden Johnson, he's having a phenomenal camp. His consistency has really increased from last year. Jaden has become an extension of the coaching staff, and that's what you want to see. Funny thing, yesterday at meetings, Coach Wilson is up explaining something to Selman, and he was just listening instead of taking notes. And you see Jaden in the back tap his notebook and tell him to write. So that means the leadership is really heading in the right direction from his standpoint, and that's what we need. Hudson Clark, he's Mr. Consistency as well. He's someone that understands the big picture of what we're doing on defense. So you can, place him in different positions and he help other guys get lined up. TJ Metcalf, if it's a such thing as the most improved from last year to this year, it would be TJ Metcalf. He's had a phenomenal camp. He's a self-motivated individual, and that's what you like to see as a coach. And he shows up to get better every day. Larry Worth has been another guy that we're moving around at different positions on the back end to see what he does best. Some of the things that we're asking him to do at the Hogs position specifically, he's done at the last institution. But then it's also some things that we're asking him to do that he wasn't asked to do, and that's his biggest area of improvement. And pretty much is being able to cover a slot man to man. He wasn't asked to do that a lot. He is improving in that area tremendously and catching on to how we do things at Arkansas. Let me see. Nico Slaughter, he's another one that right now he's penciled in at Hog, but he's a guy that you will see be able to play some safety as well with different personnels. He played corner at his last institution, so he gives you some position flexibility with his skill set. And he's also very smart as well. He's someone that has played a lot of ball. He came in and he's a student of the game. I mean, it's three things that we tell the players they need to do when they're not here in the building. That's rehab, that's sleep, and that's studying. And one thing that's very obvious is that he's studying when he's not in the building. He retains meetings. He take the meeting to the field, and he provides the leadership that we need as well. And then, we got some young guys that's doing some good things as well. Miguel Mitchell is someone that is really smart as well, and he's coming along also. So I'm really excited about the depth that we have at the safety position right now, as well as the Hog. And we just got to continue to make the strides to head in the right direction. We do not have starters. We have standards. I think you guys heard that from Coach Wilson in his interview. And that's the we and us kind of mentality we have to have in the secondary, because we're going to play a lot of people.
So, Switzer's, we've seen it at linebacker, we've seen it at Hog. Just what are his assets and how might he fit in?
Yeah, Larry, he's going to be more of a second level player for us. He can go from the penny to money, and he's a guy that is very intelligent, has a high football IQ. But he's going to be more on the second level than the third level now that we understand his strengths and things that he does best, because we want to put him in position to be successful. But I mean, you're talking about a difference maker addition to the defense. That's him. He's a student of the game. He loves football. He's passionate about it. I mean, when he's on the field, you have to tell him to slow down rather than speed up. And as a coach, that's the kind of player that you want.
Kind of hit on TJ there. You mentioned him, Coach, but what is he doing well? And then Tevis, how's he coming along also?
Man, absolutely. I tell you what, man, those two kids, they're consistent. Tevis is as good of a freshman that I've had a chance to coach in a long time. I mean, he has some position flexibility. You know, he played corner in high school, and he's really come along in terms of just competing. He's running some with the tools right now, and I've been really impressed with Tevis Metcalf. TJ, I mean, it's TJ. I mean, like, I know exactly what those two are going to bring to the building whenever they do show up. They're consistent, and that's one thing that we're putting the emphasis on, just in terms of being able to sustain the grind of camp and show up every morning and leave every night knowing exactly who you're going to be. And in terms of the Metcalves, I mean, I got two sons myself, and if my two kids grow up and be anything like those two, I've done a good job as a dad.
You got Oklahoma State, it's 11 a.m. I'm not looking ahead, but I'm just saying that's a hot game. Do you feel pretty good about the backups? I mean, or not necessarily backups, but do you feel pretty good about the numbers you have back there?
Absolutely, I do. You know, we are developing the twos and the threes just as much as we are the ones. And to me, that's a reflection of your coaching ability, is having the guys that not only are the starters prepared, but the guys that have to come in and relieve them for whatever reason. And I'm really impressed with the depth that we have as of right now, but we still have a long way to go between now and the first game.
Seems like Jalen's been pretty consistent for you, Braxton.
Yes.
And I know you say you don't have starter standards, but the other guys, I guess we kind of see Jaheim Singletary, you got Marquise Robinson back today,
Right.
Keon Stewart. Let's talk about those guys competing and what you're seeing.
Well, Jalen, I mean, you know, he's been a little banged up and he's fought through it, you know, so he's demonstrated toughness in terms of, you know, fighting through the dings that he have right now. But he's out there competing. He's getting better. He's leading as well in terms of the young guys, because he's kind of taken Selman Bridges under his wing as well, because this time last year, that was Jalen Braxton. So he's really done a good job in terms of Selman and making some investment from that standpoint. It was good getting Jaheim and Marquise Robinson back today. You know, Jaheim came in today, and from what I saw just from the field, I got to go see film, but I mean, it is like he picked up right where he left off. And, you know, he's really been climbing as well in terms of just improving daily. Then Cuddy, Marquise Robinson, I mean, his energy is contagious to the room, and that's what we needed. He's a high energy guy. He loved football. He loved to compete, and he's done a really good job as well, just in terms of adapting to the culture that we have in the defensive back room. He's a bright-eyed kid, and he's consistent as well. So I'm excited to get him back into the mix of things. Keon, he got to continue to be consistent. You know, that's the challenge for him right now. You know, elite players play at a high level even when they don't feel like it, right? Like, and that's what he needs to continue to improve at. Nobody body should feel good right now. I've yet to make a tackle in camp. I'm a coach, but my body doesn't feel good, right? So if you're out there playing and you're actually tackling and going through the practice competing, your body is going to be dinged up, right? And you got to be able to fight through it. Selman Bridges is another one that the future is bright with him as well. You know, he's a long corner, can run, loves to compete. Got to continue to work on getting him stronger, you know, to be prepared for this conference and everything that he has to face. But we're excited about him. He's someone that's going to have to play as well. So we're excited about the corner group as well.
So you talked about Larry, you know, working on like covering slot corners or slot receivers.
Yes, sir.
When I think of a slot receiver, I think shifty, fast, low to the ground. And Larry, I mean, his testing numbers are outrageous.
Absolutely.
But he's also 6'4" and long. You know, what are the challenges for him in trying to cover somebody who's, you know, built a lot differently?
Yeah, well, the main thing is just utilizing his length to his advantage, you know, being able to get hands on the slot, to be able to help with the lack of shiftiness, if you will, that he may have to face from an opposing receiver. But, you know, he understands leverage. We're never going to put him in a position of something that he can't do. You know, so at the end of the day, as long as he understands his leverage within the coverage based on the split of the receiver, and he could utilize his hands here in college that you can't do in the NFL. So we just got to continue to work with him from that standpoint. But the skill set that he has, he won't be a liability in coverage when we do ask him to cover man.
You know, we only get to see so much in practice, but we do see some interesting combos on the back end when y'all are in that, you know, the mint formation. What about that up front when they play with the buck? How does that impact you guys on the back end as safeties?
Not much. I mean, obviously we have to know when he's in a rush or in coverage based on whatever we're doing from a schematic standpoint. But you know, it kind of balances you out in terms of the second level and being able to just bump certain motions and things of that nature. But it's not a tremendous difference for us. You know, we just got to understand the run fit when run does develop and how we got to fit off of him with what we're asking him to do. And then also just understanding what he has in coverage so we can then overplay to the areas that we need to.
I've mentioned Jaden Johnson's growth. Where does that come? Does it come from the spring? Does it come from last year having some really good moments in his first like super meaningful? I mean, where do you think that started his growth to where he is now?
Yeah, I just think it comes from overall experience that led up into this point. You know, Jaden has done a good job. When you learn a lesson, you have to apply it moving forward. And, you know, if you take a lesson and you apply it moving forward, that's when maturity starts to happen. And, you know, he's a young man that it's unbelievable to hear what he was prior to me getting here and what he has been and what he is as of now since I've been here. I mean, he's a mature kid. He shows up every day to go to work. He's a tough kid as well, you know, mentally and physically. And that's the unique thing, you know, when it comes to toughness, that's one of the characteristics that we have in terms of embracing the hog. And Jaden and I was talking earlier. He's never experienced a 2-a-day practice, right? And we were just talking about how times have changed based on my experience as a player and what they're experiencing now. And toughness is always going to be relevant, but how you create a tough team is unique now compared to what it used to be. And Coach Pitt has done a phenomenal job in terms of putting the players in position to create the toughness. And us as assistant coaches got to continue to put an emphasis on it within our position room. And Jaden, again, he's an extension of the coach to help create the toughness within the room just by the way that he carries himself. So I'm super excited to see what this season has in store for him.
From a defensive coach's perspective, what's it like going up against a Bobby Petrino offense every day at practice?
Oh, wow. It's competitive for sure. He gives you a lot to prepare for, which is going to, you know, obviously shrink down what it's going to be like on Saturday. So the multiplicity of the scheme offensively that we're seeing, it's only preparing us for what we're going to see on Saturday, regardless of what the opposition is going to do. So I feel like it's nothing that we can see on Saturday that we hadn't seen from Coach Petrino at practice. And we're excited about it. It challenges us as a defensive staff to really prepare. And I'm excited to see what the offense brings to store this upcoming fall for sure.
What have been your impressions of the receivers? Are there any guys that in particular give your guys, you know, fits on a daily basis?
Yeah, I mean, you know, those guys collectively, you can see the improvement. Ronnie Fouch, Coach Fouch has done a phenomenal job with the group. You know, just, you know, the obvious guys, Andrew Armstrong, he's, you know, missed a couple of practices here lately, but, you know, before his injury, I mean, he was really competing and challenging and making us better. The same with Tyrone Broden as well. And then now you have the young guys. I mean, C.J. Brown has really been phenomenal. He does a good job. He doesn't look like a freshman from, you know, my seat and what we face at practice. Monty Harrison, he's an older guy, you know, a mature guy that brings a level of physicality to the receiver room that is going to prepare us for seeing that kind of skill set on Saturday. And then you got you know, let me see, what's his name? Pepe is what we call him. number 11. I can't think of his name right now. I'm having a brain fart. Yeah, Jordan Anthony. I mean, his speed and his skill set, he can fly. And I seriously doubt that we'll see a receiver that can run as fast as him. So he's really preparing us in the slot. And but as a whole, just the entire receiver group has been a competitive camp thus far, and they're really striving to get us better for sure.
You guys made such a leap in terms of pass defense numbers from the year before you were here to last year. Just when you reflect on 2023, maybe what were some of the biggest keys to that room, the secondary taking a step forward?
Yeah, good question. So, this time last year, the emphasis was togetherness, right? And just creating that camaraderie and the chemistry amongst the group. That's really important. And I do think that had a big role into the improvements that we made. However, that wasn't good enough, in terms of the performance that we put on the field last year. So we got to continue to work to get better. We got to we understand each other better as well. It's actually a culture and it's a standard in the room that has been set. And they know myself and Coach Wilson better. We know them better. We understand what they can and can't do better. So we'll be a better staff in terms of putting them in position to be successful. But it's just now the overall culture, the start fast emphasis that we have this camp moving forward, and just that daily improvement. We have a saying in the defensive back room, how you do anything is how you do everything. And those guys have done a great job in terms of being where they supposed to be when they supposed to be there and doing what they supposed to be doing. And I truly feel like that's how you win games. Like winning games is not just what you do on a practice field. It's also what you do when you leave the building and everybody being where they supposed to be, when they supposed to be there doing what they supposed to be doing to the best of their ability. And that's the mindset. And so that creates consistency. And, I'm just excited about this group and the improvement that we made last year. We got to continue to make those same improvements toward this year as well.
You mentioned the penny position earlier. Can you go into a little detail about what that role is exactly?
Well, right now, one of our strongest positions is the linebacker room. Coach T. Will and Coach Jake Trump, they done a really good job in terms of, replacing some guys and bringing guys in that fit what we do. So with that, we have to find packages to get more of the linebackers on the field. And that puts four linebackers on the field. That's one of the strongest and deepest positions that we have on defense. So again, right now, we're just trying to figure out the best pieces to the puzzle to put the best 11 on the field to give us the best chance to win and be successful.
Do that is, I think I saw you guys working that. Is like Spence down closer to the line of scrimmage when you do that?
Yeah, but it's musical chairs. I mean, like, you got different guys right now. That may be him, it may not. We just it's early on, and we still got a lot of time between now and the first game to see, the how can we put the best guys in position to be successful. And Coach T. Will is doing a good job, leading us as a staff to just find the best guys to put in the best position.
You talked about Selman quite a bit, but I was wondering, like, with the path that he's on right now, and we saw Jalen Braxton obviously improve to where he started 6 games for you last year. You see Selman on a path to where he can help you guys and play this season?
Absolutely. Yeah. With Jaheim and Marquise being down, the time that they were down, it allowed for great opportunity for him to be able to step in and go with some of the best guys on offense. And he exceeded the expectations that I had within the scrimmage one. And I'm excited to see, the improvement that he make individually between the first scrimmage to the second one. But he's going to play this year, and how much we'll see. It's a long season ahead. If you would have asked me last year at this time, would Jalen Braxton have had to play the role that he played for us last year, I wouldn't have believed it. But he had to step in when some older guys got banged up, and the rest is history. So we just got to have him prepared. And, once you go on that field as one of the 11, you are a starter, right? So we feel like if you're good enough, you're old enough, and that's the expectation.
Hey, Coach, kind of a broad question. You talked about the importance of chemistry, togetherness. You also talked about having conversations with Jaden about, playing in different eras. What have you learned in terms of the portal, guys coming and going, about bringing together a room and building chemistry in a new era?
Yeah, well, how important the character evaluation is within finding out who the player is, right? It obviously starts with the film, with what we look at to see if he fit from a player's perspective, but then once we contact and do our research in terms of the evaluation, the character part matters, right? There were several guys that we could have brought in from a player's perspective that we thought were good enough, but once we did a character evaluation, we decided to go in a different direction. So I think we did a great job in terms of finding the right fit. And that's really what I learned through the portal, is that you gotta recruit guys that believe in the team, we and us. Football is the ultimate team sport. You're dealing with hundreds of young men, as well as staff and administration. So it can't be a I and me type of person. It has to be a we and us. And we brought in guys that are selfless, that's willing to just play whatever role that we need within the team to help us be successful. So again, it's the player, but the person matters just as much. Thank you.